Tonight, she fought for her life. The Claremont trial told of the crucial moment Keira Glennon clawed DNA from her accused killer. A Perth mother avoids jail for trying to suffocate her daughter in a bizarre backyard ritual. A travel warning for China after an Australian actor's put on death row. A space spectacle lights up the night sky over WA.
Whoa, what the is that? Hey, can anyone see that in the sky or what? Look at that comet.
And can Jeremy McGovern convince the tribunal this wasn't intentional?
This is 10 News First, Perth, with Monika Kos.
Good evening. After a series of delays, the final stages of the Claremont serial killer trial have begun. Claire Durrell's been covering the trial for us. Claire, prosecutors started today by dismantling Bradley Edwards' defence.
Well, Monica, implausible and irrational is how lead prosecutor Carmel Barbagallo described one theory. This closing argument really is the prosecution's last chance to plead their case, and Ms Barbagallo certainly wasn't pulling any punches. She spent much of today working to rule out a theory that key evidence was contaminated. Back in court to seal her case in WA's trial of the century. Today, prosecutor Carmel Barbagallo used her closing address to interrogate Bradley Robert Edwards' defence, repeatedly rubbishing claims that cross-contamination led to the discovery of Edwards' DNA on Keira Glennon's body. Instead, prosecutors argue it got there as Ms Glennon fought for her life and clawed at her accused killer. They say she took a piece of him with her. The court told the profile is 80 million times more likely to belong to Edwards than any other person. But a defence theory suggests the DNA match could be the result of a mix-up in the PathWest lab, an argument Ms Barbagallo describes as extremely implausible and unfathomable, saying there was no realistic opportunity or mechanism for that to occur. Ms Barbagallo described the nail sample as the proverbial pot of gold, but said it was never opened while at the PathWest lab, therefore couldn't have been contaminated at that facility. Throughout today's hearing, Ms Barbagallo detailed the strict protocols in place at PathWest, including the use of PPE and extensive cleaning measures. She's expected to continue delivering her closing argument for several days before defence lawyer Paul Jovich begins to sum up his case. Claire Durrell for 10 News First.
A Perth mother who repeatedly smothered her teenage daughter while trying to perform an exorcism has been given a 4-year suspended sentence. A court heard she was suffering mental health issues at the time.
She admitted suffocating her teenage daughter, but today Kylie Weinbrecht walked from court a free woman.
We'll be celebrating tonight. The kids are looking forward to seeing me, so...
The Supreme Court heard the Perth mother thought she was performing an exorcism when she dragged her teenage daughter into their backyard 2 years ago, sat on her and smothered her with a towel, causing her to lose consciousness 3 times. In sentencing, Supreme Court Justice Gail Archer said it must have been terrifying and you did not stop on your own. You were stopped by your intellectually disabled daughter.
Will you take this opportunity to say sorry?
Yes.
You are sorry?
Yeah.
The court was told just days before the incident, Kylie Weinbrecht had forced her children to break into her sister-in-law's home, believing she'd killed her children and hidden their bodies in the walls. Justice Archer told the 34-year-old, if you fail to properly manage your mental health issues, there is a significant chance you will reoffend. Justice Archer told the court the mother's genuine remorse, combined with the positive progress she's made towards her mental health, meant the sentence should be suspended for 2 years. A restraining order will prevent Weinbrecht from seeing any of her 4 children unsupervised. Steph Baumgartel for 10 News First.
WA now has just 2 active cases of COVID-19. 9 people recovered from the infection overnight, including the remaining 6 crew from the infected Al-Kuwait live export ship. It's as a fight brews over the 50,000 sheep stranded at a Baldivis feedlot, with animal rights activists mounting a challenge to stop their live export during the northern summer. A decision is expected in the federal court tomorrow. A second protester who attended Melbourne's Black Lives Matter rally has tested positive to coronavirus. The young woman was tested after developing mild flu-like symptoms. However, health authorities believe it's likely she contracted the virus at a different location. Thousands marched in the protest just over a week ago in defiance of health warnings. Victoria's Chief Health Officer says COVID-19 symptoms can take up to 14 days to appear. We're being warned about travelling to China in the future after a Victorian man was sentenced to death for drugs charges. Calm Gillespie's friends believe he was set up, and it's believed Beijing is using the sentence to send a message to the Australian government.
And thank you for dropping by. My name's Calm Gillespie.
From here to death row, Calm Gillespie now faces a Chinese firing squad. But is he simply a hostage to global politics at a time when China is increasingly hostile to Australia?
I think Australians have to be careful about travelling to China at the moment.
For nearly 7 years, Gillespie's legal team has tried to negotiate his release. With the death sentence announced at the weekend, that approach obviously has failed, says friend and business mentor Roger Hamilton.
We will continue to provide Mr Gillespie with consular assistance and engage China on his case.
Calm Gillespie was caught at Guangzhou airport with 7 kilos of methamphetamine, but his friends say that doesn't gel with a man who would barely even drink. On social media, they've revealed his defence that Chinese business partners gave him goodwill gifts, including leather goods and luggage. In the linings, the drugs were stashed, they say. Friend Sue Barley has posted, Calm would never knowingly have been involved in such a thing. It is not in his makeup.
Australia's opposition to the death penalty is bipartisan, multi-partisan, unanimous.
After Australia insisted on an independent inquiry into the origins of the COVID pandemic, China has announced trade restrictions and issued warnings that Australia is racist towards Chinese people. Now, this.
China is really wanting every country in the region to become subservient to China's strategic interests.
After Canada infuriated China by arresting a senior businesswoman on fraud charges, China laid spying charges against 2 Canadians in China and sentenced another to death on drugs charges.
So here is a short snippet.
Gillespie's family says it is saddened by the death sentence, but has asked friends to refrain from speculating publicly. Calm Gillespie has barely a week left to file an appeal, which in China almost never succeeds anyway. Hugh Riminton for 10 News First.
The Labor Party's been rocked by accusations a power broker created fake branch members to gain far-reaching political influence. Adam Somyurek's been sacked from his ministerial role and banned over the explosive corruption claims, which he has denied.
Adam Somyurek remained confident as corruption accusations swirled.
I'll talk to you guys in the city, OK? I'm going to Parliament now.
Instead, he drove to the Premier's office where he received his ministerial marching orders.
He was sacked, and that is the fact of the matter.
It followed secret recordings made inside a federal electorate office and on the phone, suggesting Adam Somyurek created fake branch members to gain political power.
We're just going to go to town. This is war. We got massive numbers. We've got about 30 going in every week.
He allegedly used his own money to fund the scheme and was captured on camera asking a businessman to forge members' signatures. He was also recorded making offensive comments about gay Labor staffers and the Minister for Women, Gabrielle Williams.
Fourth out of the ministry, that stupid Andrews goes. She's a stupid mole.
The things that were said about her are simply unacceptable. Wicked comments, and I simply will not tolerate.
In a statement, Adam Somyurek said he would rigorously defend allegations of branch stacking, but he apologised for remarks about Gabrielle Williams and the LGBTI community, adding these comments have quite rightly cost me my job.
His conduct and his comments are completely deplorable, they are shameful, and it is on that basis that there is no place in my government for him.
The Premier has referred the matter to Victoria's anti-corruption body and the police. A police spokesperson said the force will assess the complaint and work with the watchdog on how best to proceed with the investigation.
The Labor Party have a lot of explaining to do.
The Labor Party will be a better party with the removal of this individual.
Somyurek quit before the federal executive declared he'd never be welcomed back. Simon Love for 10 News First.
A man convicted of murdering his former wife and dumping her body in a suitcase in the Swan River has lost his appeal. Annabelle Chen's remains were found by fishermen in July 2016. Her ex-husband, Ah Ping Ban, was later found guilty of her murder. Ms Chan's daughter Tiffany convicted of being an accessory. Today the Court of Appeal rejected Ban's attempt to have his conviction overturned, despite one judge saying he should be granted a retrial. A group of Perth schoolboys accused of a train station attack that left a man fighting for life have appeared in court. Matthew Henson was put in a coma after he was beaten and robbed at Stirling train station earlier this year. One of the boys has already admitted his role in the assault. The rest are expected to enter pleas next week and remain on bail. A Mandurah great-grandfather's been scammed out of thousands of dollars he thought was being invested in the stock market. It's been described as an elaborate scheme and dozens of West Australians have fallen victim.
82-year-old Vivian Doney thought he was investing in the stock market.
$3,000 going to be $37 in 18 months.
Instead, scammers stole thousands of dollars from the self-funded retiree, which he'd saved to pay for his own funeral.
And all these numbers here, you can ring them now and they're not even in existence.
Con artists sent this brochure by mail before calling and emailing multiple times to pitch the bogus scheme. Eventually, the great-grandfather agreed and sent 3 payments totalling $10,000.
These organised criminals are sophisticated, they're very good at what they do, and they're all about trying to make that sale.
This year alone, 65 West Australians have been conned by similar investment scams, collectively losing close to $5 million.
So the average loss is around $77,000 per person. Some losses are relatively small and some are really large.
To make sure you don't fall victim, don't respond to unsolicited offers. Do your own research and ask yourself, is it too good to be true?
At a bare minimum, the people making that offer to you actually have to have a financial services licence.
Fair enough, I got scammed. That's fair enough, I'll cover that. But I don't want other people to get scammed. That's why I'd like to say, watch out.
Nathan Brooks for 10 News First.
A massive fireballs lit up the night sky in WA's north. It took mine workers by surprise. Some even managed to film it, but where it ended up could remain a mystery.
A fireball tears through the night sky.
Holy shit, no!
Catching workers on night shift in WA's remote Pilbara region off guard.
Whoa, what the is that?
Hey, can anyone see that in the sky or what? Look at that comet.
The mysterious streak appeared just before 1 a.m.
That's mad. That's crazy.
Many trying to guess what they were witnessing.
What's that? An alien.
Experts believe it was a meteor or a space rock, saying the colour of its glow gave it away.
It's got a green tinge to it, which is an indicator of the types of metals that you get in the rest of the solar system in rocks. So it looks naturally occurring.
At first, the fireball was thought to be a piece of burning space junk. In 1979, WA experienced a close encounter on a much larger scale, a miscalculation causing debris from the US space station Skylab to fall near Esperance.
Like multiple semi-trailer trucks all joined together with components in that structure which don't melt easily. So that's why the debris was spread over such a vast area.
Where in space this rock came from will likely never be known. Its silence the only clue to its size.
I don't think anyone heard the sonic boom, so we're talking about less than a metre on the scale of tens of centimetres.
Workers last night left with one astronomical tale to tell.
That's unreal, eh?
Amelia Simpson for 10 News First.
Our own shining star, Tim Gossage, is here now with a look at sport. Mixed news at the Dockers, Tim.
Absolutely, Monica. Thank you very much. Kind words. Sean Darcy has been cleared of serious injury. More details later, and the Eagles are heading to the tribunal. Jeremy McGovern will try and beat a one-game suspension. The West Coast star speaks about the incident, which has landed him in hot water. And the Perth Glory are back at the club as the A-League prepares to restart its season. All that and more coming up on a massive Monday night of sport.
See you later. After the break on 10. Road to recovery. More jobs and billions spent as the government fast-tracks key projects. And anger as a second Captain Cook statue's vandalised.
Within each of these boxes is a golden opportunity.
You can lift your lids now.
Gold ingredients.
This is your golden ticket to immunity.
What they'll create is pure gold.
I spend my career searching for those food highs where you go, that's bloody brilliant. That was one of those moments.
The Golden Mystery Box, 7:30 tonight on 10.
Even remotely, our home loan specialist can zoom into your home to help you save on your next loan.
Health cover costs just seem to keep going up. I'm not sure I can afford it.
Well, HBF has cancelled its rate increase until April 2021. Get a quote today.
The rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
With Choices Flooring, you'll find the colour, style and texture you've been searching for right in your own home with our fun new visualiser, Room View. Visit choicesflooring.com.au and start creating.
My barber was fussing with my hair, trying to hide the thinning bits, and he says to me, maybe we should shave it all off. That was my turning point.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley & Martin could help regrow your hair.
Nescafe Blend 43 is made right here in country Queensland. Robusta and Arabica roasted individually, then brought together for the perfect cup. Nescafe Blend 43, the perfect blend of bold and smooth.
Have you filed a claim for compensation for a car or work accident injury? Do you know how much you deserve and what your outstanding claim is worth? Phone solicitor Simon Walters for your free initial consultation now.
The new Cosmic Superstore is open and it's awesome. There's more drums, more guitars, more keys, more advice, more brands and more deals. Give us a call or shop online and get the essentials. Cosmic.com.au.
I just love our new home and I can't wait to show you around.
Feel Good Fridays are back. The new living room on 10.
Hello there. The tourism industry will be worried about the latest international visitor numbers. The border shutdown has seen overseas visitor arrivals plunge more than 99% in April to just 2,200 trips. That's the largest monthly decrease on record. People coming from New Zealand top the list. As for residents returning home, this drop is Australia's largest ever in overseas travel, with just over 17,000 trips in April. The latest household impacts of COVID-19 survey is out. It reports a slight lift in the proportion of people working paid hours, but the number of people out of a job ticked up from mid-May. Now, as restrictions ease, NAB has taken another look at what Australians think about COVID-19. Besides the health worry, almost 6 in 10 now rate the economic impact as a top concern, while women are more worried about the pandemic than men. There's been talk too about COVID-19 forcing a re-evaluation of life and a continuation of working remotely, but the survey shows few are considering a huge lifestyle change. To the share market, there was a sell-off this afternoon. CommSec suggests fears of a second wave of infections could be to blame, but investors liked City Chic after the fashion retailer confirmed it's shutting 14 stores, and healthcare company Helios after it revealed it's selling its medical centres in a deal worth $500 million. To the dollar, it's down against most of the major currencies, and that's finance.
We are being warned it could take up to 5 years for the economy to recover from the coronavirus crisis. Prime Minister Scott Morrison is predicting a record downturn for at least the next 2 years. He announced today the federal government will fast-track $72 billion worth of infrastructure projects to help people get back into work.
projects that will support 66,000 direct and indirect jobs.
15 priority projects have been named, including the inland rail connection between Brisbane and Melbourne. A New South Wales Greens politician is under pressure to publicly condemn a vandalism attack on a statue of Captain Cook, allegedly carried out by one of his own staffers. It follows news a second monument was defaced at the weekend.
Different council, same cleanup. In Randwick on Saturday night or Sunday morning, vandals sprayed "No Pride in Genocide" and an Aboriginal flag on this nearly 150-year-old monument to Captain James Cook.
But it's very un-Australian, it's disrespectful and it's wrong.
This one in Hyde Park got the same treatment, allegedly at the hands of these two women bailed by the court overnight. Charmaine Morrison-Mills and Jaran Shee, who is a part-time staffer in the office of Greens MP David Shoebridge.
David Shoebridge is always very quick to call for somebody's sacking, and on this case we're calling on him to do the same thing.
I think that he needs to show leadership and he needs to condemn this outright.
In a statement, he said his staffer was not engaged in employment at the time of the incident, which occurred well outside work hours.
Whether or not the person undertook this activity during work hours is irrelevant. Does he tolerate this type of breaking the law or not?
Mr Shoebridge would not be interviewed, today chairing an inquiry into the government's handling of COVID-19 while facing criticism himself. After ignoring social distancing at the Black Lives Matter rally, he then went to a logging protest in an Indigenous community on the mid-north coast.
If we get the virus, the pandemic, into Indigenous communities, it will go right. It'll make the Ruby Princess look like a picnic.
Warren Mundine also believes old monuments should not be ripped down.
We should be using these for education. We should be saying, well, this is how these people in that time thought about these things and did about these things. And this is why we have changed.
The Cook Monument here in Hyde Park now appears to have police watching over it both day and night. At this stage, investigators say they don't have any evidence linking what the Green staffer is accused of doing here and the graffiti attack at Randwick.
Look, I don't think you make your point by damaging property.
They're ruining our history, and we need our history for our children.
Destroying or damaging property can carry 5 years jail, but the Premier is now considering even tougher laws. Daniel Sutton for 10 News First.
Well, cloudy skies made way for a fairly sunny afternoon. Michael Schultz, there's something for everyone this week.
Absolutely. Tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day to get outdoors and enjoy it. But on Wednesday afternoon, we're going to see a significant cold front come through. That could have a good drop of rain with it. Those showers will linger into Thursday. And next weekend looks like it's going to be very pleasant conditions for outdoor activities. Today we got to 19.9 and that maximum was at 13 past 3. The overnight minimum was at 13 minutes to 3 this morning. That was 11.9. 21 up at Lancelin, 16 at Bickley, where the extremes are around the metropolitan area. And around the state today, got to 36 in the North Kimberley at Columbaroo, cold in the southwest, 15 at Rocky Gully and at Shannon. And under the influence of a high pressure cell, it was very cold over inland parts this morning. Willoona had the lowest overnight minimum of 0. It's going to be cold in there again overnight, but you can see that cold front moving into the eastern Indian Ocean. See you at 5 to 6.
Until then, thanks, Michael. Ahead on 10 News. Tanker tragedy, lives lost and buildings destroyed in a massive fuel truck explosion. And why one of our funniest exports believes cancel culture is no laughing matter.
Strap yourselves in, because when Pete, Geraldine and Kitty come to play, it'll be comedy and competition.
Is there a third option?
So are Ed and Sam up for the challenge?
I'd expect more than that from you, Sam. You shouldn't expect more. No.
You Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight on 10.
If I could give them 1 million stars, I would.
Another real review from a happy Aussie broadband customer. With thousands of 5-star reviews, an award-winning NBN network and all Australian support, we're shooting for the stars. Aussie Broadband. Can't beat feedback.
WA's most famous spuds are coming to Stirling Central Shopping Centre. But there's no need to rush in, because the free spuds or carrots and big opening specials will be there 24 hours a day, all weekend. We grow it, we sell it, you save.
You can tell the body language when someone loves their hair because they're like an inch taller, they're smiling, and that's what I love. I never want to do anything else.
Our team, making you look and feel the very best you can every time.
When it comes to any property, it's what's inside that counts. We understand that the true value of any home is the life inside.
It's laundry season at Harvey Norman. Wash smarter with the latest technology from all the leading brands. Save up to $700 on selected Miele laundry packages or up to $1,200 on selected AEG packages. We have dryers in stock from $349. Front-load washers with steam to sanitize and care for your delicate items from $698. King-size washers to save you time from $899. Plus 60 months interest-free is available. Limited time, now at Harvey Norman.
Go!
With Ryobi One Plus U equals anything you can imagine. In fact, one battery powers over 100 tools, so One Plus U equals endless possibilities.
Australian governments are now deregistering vehicles fitted with faulty Alpha-type Takata airbags. This could be extended to all faulty Takata airbags. Don't risk your registration or your life. Visit ismyairbagssafe.com.au.
The latest shooting of a black man by a police officer in the US has been declared a homicide by a medical examiner. Rayshard Brooks was shot in the back as he tried to escape being arrested in Atlanta.
At this moment, Rayshard Brooks has about 45 minutes to live.
Hey, you're parked in the drive-thru right now.
He was pulled over for falling asleep at a Wendy's drive-thru, but after he fails a sobriety test,
Put your hands behind your back.
Brooks tries to escape.
Hey, stop fighting!
Grabbing a taser and running, he then appears to fire it at policeman Gareth Rolfe, who in return shoots 3 bullets into his back. Today, his widow recalls the moment she found out what happened.
They said, well, Miss Miller, we're sorry to tell you, I just dropped to my knees.
Tamika Miller was married to Brooks for 8 years, having 4 children together.
I want them to deal with the same thing as if it was my husband who killed someone else.
The policeman has been fired and will know by midweek whether he'll face murder charges.
He's another African-American male that shouldn't have been murdered, just like George Floyd.
Today, more rallies continued at the scene, which was torched last night, and right across the country. The promise of police reform's not enough to slow protesters down. From New York to Los Angeles, Black Lives Matter demonstrations also took on an LGBTQ theme for Pride Month, as thousands gathered again near the White House, where President Donald Trump returned after celebrating his 74th birthday at a golf course, tweeting the silent majority is stronger than ever. If President Trump had been looking for a birthday present from the polls, he would have been disappointed. Since these protests, Joe Biden has been leading by double digits nationwide, and new polling out today suggests the same thing may be happening in key battleground states. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
Retailers in England have begun opening their doors to the public for the first time in 3 months. The easing of restrictions on shops selling non-essential items comes as the UK heads towards its worst recession on record. There were 36 coronavirus deaths there yesterday, the lowest daily toll since the lockdown began. In Italy, 2 new virus clusters have emerged in separate parts of Rome, sparking panic about a possible second wave. A statue of a famous journalist in Italy has been vandalised by protesters. The monument of the late Indro Montanelli was smeared with the words rapist and racist in red paint. He was one of Italy's most revered journalists, but also defended colonialism in Africa and admitted to buying a 12-year-old to be his wife. The death toll from a massive gas tanker explosion in eastern China has risen to 19, with more than 170 injured. The power of the blast caused nearby homes and factories to collapse and flung burning wreckage several kilometres away. The cause is being investigated. Aussie star Rebel Wilson is calling for an end to so-called cancel culture after watching work of good friends get pulled off air. With a new local comedy show about to launch, she says comedians should be cut a bit of slack.
For a comedian, there's no tougher crowd than other comedians. Something Rebel Wilson decided to prove in a new TV show called LOL, Last One Laughing.
I locked 10 comedians in a room for 6 hours, and the last person not to laugh wins $100,000.
I'm amazed by the lengths they go to. You know, it's just, you just go, wow, I can't believe they've gone there. Some of it's quite raunchy.
Full nudity within the first hour. Who would have thought?
There's a lot of discussion around at the moment about what's off limits in comedy. What do you consider is off limits in comedy? Where should comedians not go?
I personally feel like comedians should be a bit exempt because our job is to flirt with that line of what's acceptable, and sometimes you do cross it and you should be allowed to at times.
And for material from the past which is now deemed not acceptable, should we be forbidden from watching it, or should it still be there so that people can learn from it, I guess?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of just erasing things. I know my mate Matt Lucas's show Little Britain, I think, got pulled, which I just think is a bit crazy.
Yeah, he was your flatmate for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah. We lived together for 3 years. I mean, he's amazing. You know, he's the kindest, most decent human being ever.
Busy as ever, Rebel produced and starred in 2 hit movies last year.
Right now I'm trying to get up a movie by the end of the year to shoot in Australia to employ hundreds of people.
But she also has her eyes on a gig right here on Channel 10. How are you going to fit in being the Bachelorette with all that?
I don't know. I haven't got the call yet, Channel 10.
You're kidding.
So what's happening there?
Last One Laughing streams on Amazon Prime Video from this Friday. Angela Bishop for 10 News First.
Still to come. Pub attack. Police hunt 2 women over a Northbridge glassing. And how Aussie doctors are giving preterm babies their best chance of survival.
What's inside the Golden Mystery Box?
Oh my God. Gold ingredients.
This is your golden ticket to immunity.
What they'll create is pure gold.
That's bloody brilliant.
I help kids learn to be safe, but I'm not a teacher.
I'm helping to make our roads safer, but I'm not an engineer.
I'm working for a more sustainable future, but I'm not a scientist.
I've helped save hundreds of lives, but I'm not a doctor.
I save my family money every day, but I'm not an accountant.
I'm an RAC member.
Doing more for WA and for you. That's the power of membership. RAC, for the better.
Well, it's time for wrinkles. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair. We've got the retinol that gives you results in 1 week. Not just any retinol, accelerated retinol SA. 1 week, it's all it takes. Neutrogena. The Huawei P40 Pro 5G. Break the boundaries of speed and distance. Capture the best part of every moment. Even at night, you can discover stories within stories. The Huawei P40 Pro 5G. Visionary photography.
WA's most famous spuds are coming to Stirling Central Shopping Centre. But there's no need to rush in, because the free spuds or carrots and big opening specials will be there 24 hours a day all weekend. We grow it, we sell it, you save.
Rental Management Australia is 100% focused on managing properties. We understand clear communication gives you peace of mind, and that's delivering positive word-of-mouth referrals Australia-wide. Rental Management Australia. Your property is our priority.
Australia, we're excited that footy is back. And at Coles, we're helping lower the cost of footy faves. Coles Beef Quick Cook Porterhouse or Scotch Fillet Steaks, mix, match and save any 2 packs, just $12. Coles, good things, great value.
Alright Australia, so you need more energy and a better night's sleep. Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress taking Australia by storm. It's the next generation mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers to give you the best energy, health and sleep benefits possible, even making history by becoming the first mattress ever to win Choice's Best Overall Mattress 2 years in a row. It comes manufacturer direct, free of markup. And that means you can get incredible quality with incredible value. That's Sleeping Duck, one giant leap for your sleep.
At Open Universities Australia, we'll help you find the right study choice for you, all in one place. Explore online courses today at open.edu.au.
When cold and flu symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes and lasts for up to 8 hours. Nurofen for children.
New challenges, new jobs. Wherever you go in life, Host Plus is the industry super fund that goes with you. The fund that puts members first, every day. Host Plus, wherever life takes you, we go with you.
It'll be laughs aplenty when Pete, Geraldine and Kitty join Ed and Sam on New Have You Been Paying Attention tonight.
The top stories here on 10 News First. Prosecutors have argued there was no chance DNA linking Bradley Robert Edwards to Keira Glennon's murder was contaminated. After several delays, the closing submissions in the Claremont trial began today. The bid to export thousands of sheep to the Middle East has hit a legal hurdle after animal rights activists launched a court battle. The Al-Kuwait has been stranded in Fremantle since some of its crew were infected with COVID-19. All have since recovered. And a suspected meteors lit up the night sky over the state's north. Mine workers were left in awe as the bright green flash soared through the atmosphere. It's not known where it landed or what's left. A woman's had a glass thrown at her head during a confrontation in Northbridge on Saturday night. It happened just after 11 p.m. at the Brass Monkey pub on James Street. Police are searching for these 2 women captured on security camera. The 22-year-old victim was taken to hospital with facial injuries. Police are asking anyone who recognises the women to come forward. Police training methods are under the spotlight after an officer died in the Perth Hills. Dennis Green was killed when he lost control and hit a tree during motorcycle exercises.
A grieving family in court to find answers on how a pursuit training course went so horribly wrong. Den Green was learning to chase criminals at high speed when he lost control of his motorbike in December 2017. The 51-year-old's death was the first time in 10 years a serving WA officer was killed in a crash. Senior Constable Adam Whitney was the qualified instructor and Senior Constable Damien Hawkins a trainee instructor on the ride. They both administered first aid after the crash. Today, Senior Constable Whitney told the Coroner's Court that early on, Den was struggling with the size of the bike and he'd failed parts of the course on his first attempt, but he'd had a light bulb moment and he had excelled. The court heard during the high-speed training ride, Den misjudged a corner and drove briefly onto the wrong side of the road, but trainee instructor Senior Constable Hawkins said he didn't feel that warranted aborting the ride. It was a major enough issue to talk about it, but not to shut it down. He said he was good to go. 10 minutes later, Den's bike left the road on a sweeping bend and hit a tree. WA Police has not been conducting any motorcycle training since the fatal crash in 2017, as the coroner considers whether the current 2-week course is safe enough for participants and members of the public. The inquest continues. Jessica Brown for 10 News First.
They're our extra special babies born well before the 40-week mark. Now 10 News First has been granted exclusive access to one of Sydney's biggest neonatal intensive care wards, tasked with giving them the best chance at life.
It's a hands-on, touching moment of life coming full circle. Nurse Kara Sutner has cared for hundreds of preemie babies, but none as special as this one. 2-week-old Hannah is her own.
Every day I just know that this is a miracle.
For 5 years, she helped other parents at their most vulnerable, working at the Royal Hospital for Women's Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, or NICU.
It's a very intense experience for the families, and it is very memorable for the staff.
Kara left several years ago to start her own family, having 5 beautiful children. But she recently returned as a patient, 28 weeks pregnant with her 6th child, Hannah.
As the doctor said, you're not going anywhere. If you go home and you bleed again the way you did, Hannah's life and your life is in danger.
With this very special care came added comfort from good friends. Meredith Ward has overseen this unit for more than 15 years and seen amazing developments.
We can now look after babies born as early as 23 weeks gestation and as small as 350 grams.
That's less than a can of Coke and 16 weeks off full term. We're here in the departure lounge of the Royal Hospital for Women. These preemie babies will be going home really soon. One of the biggest breakthroughs here has been moving tiny babies off ventilators as quickly as possible.
We've discovered that the baby's lungs develop better if we allow them to breathe for themselves when they're born, rather than us doing the breathing for them using the ventilator machine.
They do so by measuring the electrical activity in the baby's tiny diaphragm, which signals their intention to breathe. Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
Now, sport with Goss. The axe is tipped to fall in cricket.
That's what they're saying, Monika. Yeah, it starts at the very top also with the Cricket Australia Chief Executive, Kevin Roberts, in a fight to save his job. Details next. Also, 2 weeks in and why the AFL has changed the rules. Plus, it's off to the tribunal for Eagle Jeremy McGovern. Hear what the Premiership star has to say about the charge and skipper Luke Shuey's fitness fight. Just 2 games in, but is Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge the first to feel the heat after 2 bad losses?
We chat to fan favourite Khan after he was kicked out of the MasterChef kitchen.
Whether it's cheeky banter...
Sam's decided to wear camouflage tonight.
or witty answers...
What are we looking at?
That's misery.
Well...
You know there's laughs aplenty. So let's see what Pete, Geraldine and Kitty have in store with Ed and Sam on new Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight.
For the mid-afternoon naps. For the midnight marathons. For bringing the family together. For a chance to escape from the world. For the good times and the other times. For the years of support. Danks Furniture. The comfort of home.
The past few months have taught us a lot. Not just how to bake bread or kinda cut hair, but about what's really important. Like staying well, so we can enjoy the good times again. With friends and family, in our incredible home. Great work staying well, WA. A message from HBF.
Choosing jewellery from solid gold diamonds is more than looking in a shop window. It's a memory for life. You can see an exclusive range of the finest Argyle pink diamonds at prices you'll love. Handcrafted pieces individually designed for you. Rare Argyle pink diamonds are your investment for life. Nothing compares with the solid gold diamonds experience. Upstairs, corner William and Hay Street Mall.
You're relying on our network more, so we're accelerating the rollout of Telstra 5G, giving more people and businesses access to fast download speeds in more places than ever.
At Go Homes, we're making it easy to be a gourmet chef with our exclusive Go Gourmet home designs. With premium Smeg appliances, stone bench tops, and heaps more mouth-watering inclusions. From just $189,900. Head to gohomes.com.au.
WA's most famous spuds are coming to Stirling Central Shopping Centre. But there's no need to rush in, because the free spuds or carrots and big opening specials will be there 24 hours a day all weekend. We grow it, we sell it, you save.
At Open Universities Australia, we'll help you find the right study choice for you, all in one place. Explore online courses today at open.edu.au.
Lottery West's COVID-19 Relief Fund is helping provide food, clothing and rent assistance to many West Aussies experiencing hardship across our state. Thanks, WA. It's working. Play for WA.
Plush Sofa's end of financial year sale is now on. Shop in showroom or online with up to 50% off everything and 48 months interest free.
What's inside the Golden Mystery Box?
Oh my God.
Well, to sport everyone, the AFL has been forced to make changes on the run in regards to dangerous tackles in response to Sean Burgoyne escaping with a fine for this sling tackle on Patrick Dangerfield. The AFL Commission has late this afternoon updated its guidelines to toughen the rules to further take into account the potential to cause injury.
Over the weekend, we identified an area in the AFL's tribunal guidelines that required an urgent amendment to ensure that the potential of dangerous tackle to cause injury can be taken into account by the MRO when grading the consequence of an incident, and we have moved immediately to make that change. After reviewing the decision and the current framework in place, the match review officer's findings were appropriate. However, it has become obvious that the framework in which the MRO works relating to dangerous tackles requires strengthening.
Head of Football Operations there, Steve Hocking. Eagles star Jeremy McGovern will be the first player in 2020 to head to the tribunal, appealing a week's suspension for striking in Saturday night's shock loss to the Gold Coast Suns. Lockie Reid has more.
A rush of blood from a normally composed competitor.
McGovern wants some more.
I didn't even know I hit him, to be honest. I didn't go in there and try to punch someone in the face. So, yeah, whatever it is, it is.
So no surprise to see McGovern deciding to fight the charge. But his legal Eagles must somehow prove his attack on Sexton wasn't intentional, which could be tough considering seconds later he shoved him into a fence and copped a $1,000 fine. The sight of Luke Shuey this morning summing up the loss to Gold Coast. The Eagles battered and bruised by a team that was on average 2 years younger and had played half the amount of total games.
Especially against the Eagles who are pretty hot and had almost a full strength team. I think, yeah, one of the best wins I've been a part of for sure.
They were a lot harder than us, I think, in the contest. It seemed like they, to be honest, just wanted it a little bit more than what we did in the end, and we're put our finger out for next week.
Brisbane at the Gabba, the next assignments. Near enough isn't good enough for Fremantle after their loss to the Lions.
Yeah, clearly a bit frustrating. You want to win, and we've been in both the games against good opposition.
The Dockers' last win 317 days ago, but the signs are promising.
And this game is on again.
Sean Darcy's season looked over on Saturday, the big man needing crutches just to get into the rooms.
Obviously a nasty incident on the weekend. Scans this morning have cleared him of both ACL and PCL damage. He's got some soft tissue damage at the back of the knee.
The door well and truly open for a Jesse Hogan return. The players about to get more freedom at their hub. Surfing, golf and fishing now allowed. So Fife will be frothing, Hearn will be in heaven, and no more handicaps for the golf enthusiasts. Lockie Reid for 10 News First.
One of the highly touted teams heading into 2020 suddenly faces huge challenges after two bad losses. Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge says his team fell apart last night when they were soundly beaten by St Kilda and now sit last on the ladder.
The Bulldogs are a mile off the pace after losing to St Kilda by 39 points.
We've got some challenges, absolutely. We've got some huge challenges.
The Saints, on the other hand, couldn't be happier.
The young Toro slams it through! Oh, what a goal to get the Saints going!
I think we're growing as a group, so this is a victory, but I think our season will be really determined by our consistency.
Beveridge says the Bulldogs turned the ball over too often and then couldn't or wouldn't defend.
Hill handballs on straight away, Butler into the open goal.
I felt like our what we geared up for intensity-wise and contest-wise fell apart a little bit.
He argues they are a side in transition, with a young ruckman Tim English and young key forward Aaron Norton still learning the ropes.
Sometimes it's a step backwards to go forwards. I've got a really strong belief in our players, in our group and what we're capable of.
Suddenly St Kilda's loss to North Melbourne doesn't look so bad, and their recruits such as Zach Jones and Dan Butler played blinders.
Butler's kick is a beauty!
And in just his second match, young key forward Max King was again impressive. It doesn't get any easier for the Dogs, which goes into the grudge match against the Giants, out of form and on a tight schedule.
3 games really in about 12 days, including this one. So it's something we haven't done before.
Rob Waters for 10 News First.
Hawthorn's Jack Gunston says copping the reigning premier on a 6-day break is actually a blessing because they can't stew on Friday night's howler. The 3-time premiership Hawk admits not much went right against Geelong.
The Hawks aren't backing away from their Friday night howler, and there's no rocket science behind what went wrong.
We couldn't get our hands on the ball. We're losing contested possession, but then we're losing the ball on the outside as well. And then I think you look at it, when we did get our hands on the ball, we didn't use it right.
While a Thursday night matchup against the Tigers is daunting, Gunston says getting back on the field quickly is the best thing to do.
We're fortunate we got this period to focus on the Tigers, and it's not going to be any easier. We're proud players and we're proud footballers, and we're always proud to pull on the Hawthorn jumper. So when people say you put up the white flag, it does hurt, it stings.
The Blues review will be directed at fixing what's becoming a worrying trend of sloppy starts.
Our piece is that we've got to get our first quarters right, and that's pretty obvious for everyone involved in the footy club and everyone externally from the footy club that we've got to put a focus on that and make sure we get them right.
At Collingwood, a couple of out-of-favour pies pushed their cases for selection on the track ahead of Saturday's clash with the Saints. And while he was ginger, there was no loser's limp for young kangaroo Cam Zurhaar, who checked in for a scan on his shoulder, but is bullish about facing the Swans.
No, I'm all good, just a little check-up, it's fine.
The powerhouse with the Billy Ray Cyrus hairdo admitting he had a ball in the forward 50.
Zurhaar, yes! He's got it!
Strong performance from our midfield and managed to get it down to me, and I was just lucky enough to get on the end of it, but our whole forward team was firing and the young boys were playing really well footy.
And while the AFL Air charter flight with the Bombers may have been quiet on the way up, Zurhaar says there was plenty of mid-air banter on the return leg.
Very different. It was very quiet on the way up there, but I think there was a few more boys chatting away on the way back because everyone was happy that the team won.
Nick Butler for 10 News First.
A-League teams are gearing up to complete their season, with many clubs having COVID-19 testing today around the country, and that included Perth Glory. Steve Allen was at Glory HQ for their return.
Yeah, Goss, it's been an incredibly frustrating period for some of these Glory players. It's been 12 weeks now since they were stood down without pay. But today, some positive news. They were back at the club to get their COVID-19 swabs done. And if they come back all clear, they'll resume training on Thursday. The A-League is eyeing a resumption date of July 16. There's 27 regular season matches to complete, and they're hoping to whip through those in 28 days before a frantic week of finals to cap it all off. Now, it's going to be incredibly difficult for the Glory from here on in. There'll be no more home games in Perth. They're prepared to hub it over in New South Wales for up to 5 weeks to get this done and hopefully come back with some silverware. They're 5th on the ladder, and they're going to have to get it all done without their Swiss defender Greg Wuthrich, who won't be returning to the club.
Good on you, Stevie. Real Madrid hasn't played in 3 months, but its return was worth waiting for.
Cleared out to Toni Kroos. Oh, what a finish into the top corner.
And they made light work of Eibar with a 3-1 victory to mark their return to La Liga action. It moves Madrid within 2 points of competition leaders Barcelona, setting up a dogfight with 10 games to go. Kevin Roberts will reportedly become Australian sport's latest high-profile casualty, with Cricket Australia poised to sack the chief executive this week. CEO power brokers are apparently frustrated at the stalemate with state associations and the prospect of a pay dispute with players, with staff morale plunging when most were stood down on 20% pay in April. Those power brokers want the game to emerge from COVID-19 crisis in good financial health. Roberts' departure is expected to be announced Wednesday. And in a bid to play Test cricket, leg spinner Adam Zampa's heading home to New South Wales. Having grown up on the state's south coast and started with New South Wales, Zampa has re-signed for the Blues after 7 seasons with South Australia. The 28-year-old joins Test spinner Nathan Lyon and is likely to get Sheffield Shield action to stake his claim for Tests, especially while Lyon is away on tour.
If you're another spinner in the country, your best bet is to probably try and play with Nathan. So if I can form a relationship with him and play some Shield cricket with Nathan, it's probably the best way for me to get that baggy green.
Having claimed 108 international wickets in white ball cricket, Zampa says his move also has the blessing of national coach Justin Langer. For the first time in 3 months, we have a champion on the PGA Golf Tour. American Daniel Berger secured the 3rd victory of his career, but he did get a fair dose of luck. This lip-out cost Xander Schauffele a spot in the playoffs, where Colin Morikawa suffered a similar fate.
Jeepers creepers.
Oh, no. Daniel Berger is your champion here.
You know, when I came back stronger than, you know, I ever have before, and I wanted it more than I ever have before.
World number 1 Rory McIlroy had an absolute stinker. He tied for 32nd, and Matty Jones was the best Aussie, but he finished a long way off him at 5 under. And welcome to the Ultimate Tennis Challenge, where matches are broken up into quarters, not games. Winners can be 3-pointers, and a 5th set has made way for sudden death. Confused? Well, you're not alone, because not even one of the chair umpires could figure out when one match ended.
You win 2 points in a row and that's it. And the match is complete, as I said. A little bit of confusion there amongst the players, but the rules, well, they were clear to me, and I think...
Well, that makes one of us, because the win was even more unconventional for Feliciano Lopez, given his phone alarm went off on match point. But for refusing to snooze on the umps, missed call, Lopez also wins our play of the day. So the big news coming out of the West Coast Eagles, Jeremy McGovern given 1 week for striking. He heads to the tribunal. I'll be back with more after 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Goss. A sunny day on the way for Perth, but showers aren't far behind. Michael has weather next.
Which countries are bursting to be in a travel bubble with Australia? Next.
On Tan's Must-See Monday, what they create from this mystery box is pure gold.
That's bloody brilliant.
Then...
It's comedy gold on Have You Been Paying Attention?
What are we looking at here?
That's misery.
Well...
Go for gold on Tan's Must-See Monday.
In the universe, stars are born every day. Just like in Compton, Western Victoria, where for over 93 years, we've created not just butter, but a star. Western Star. More than butter.
Get moving. Furniture Bazaar's end of financial year sale is here. Get the Palmer Recliner Suite for $1,099. The Aberdeen Bedroom Suite, 30% off. And the Zeus Lounge, now only $14.99. Furniture Bazaar.
This is Terrace, the narrow lot design specialists changing the way Perth lives. Terrace is everywhere, with house and land packages in over 33 locations. This is Terrace, and it could be yours from only $299,000.
It's now more important than ever to eat well, to keep well. Light and Easy's new winter wellbeing menu gives you over 100 delicious meals to enjoy, all packed full of nutrients to keep you healthy throughout the colder months. And because over 35% of people put weight on every winter, it'll also help you avoid that winter weight gain. If you want to lose weight, stay healthy and enjoy more free time, eat well and keep well with Australia's #1 healthy meal delivery service. Order from Light and Easy's new winter menu today.
Want to sell something for instant cash? We're open. Looking to buy from a huge range of quality second-hand goods for less? We're open. Cash Converters. Find us online or visit us in store.
This is an actual event. It could happen to anyone. Stephen Brown lawyers can tell you how much your claim is really worth. It's no win, no fee. Call 13-HURT.
As credit to you, here's up to $120 credit from us. Add any selected month-to-month mobile plan with Vodafone and get the credit you deserve over 12 months. Find out more at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
The V6 twin-turbo rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
The biggest thing since joining My Budget is that we've eliminated almost all of our debt. And honestly, we have My Budget to thank for that.
Call My Budget now for your free consultation.
Hey, welcome to our new home.
We can't wait to show you around.
The new living room. Fridays on 10.
Very good evening. It was reasonably cool under the cloud today. The rainfall up until 9 o'clock this morning was just 0.2 of a millimetre. The total for the month is now up to 43.2 millimetres, so we've got a fair way to go to get the 128. On Wednesday, we could pick up a reasonable drop, and early next week, we could get another significant front moving through. 19.9 was the maximum today. It was recorded at 13 past 3. The overnight minimum 11.9 at 13 minutes to 3 this morning. 15.8 at the moment. It's calm. The barometer 1,025.4. It's rising. Relative humidity 67%. The daytime temperatures up to the north, 21 at Lancelin. Dwelling up had 17. The lowest close to Perth was 16 at Bickley. Everyone else had a 19 or 20. Around the state, cold over inland parts of the state this morning. Willoona dropped to 0 degrees and several locations, including Murchison Settlement, went down to 2 degrees. 15 was reported from Rocky Gully and Shannon. That was the lowest maximum. And the highest maximum, of course, came from the far north Kimberley, Columbaroo with 36 degrees. The best falls of rain up until 9 o'clock this morning were in the hills just to the south of Perth. Jarrahdale had 6 millimetres, Carnot had 5 millimetres, Serpentine 4, and down in the south there was a 2 millimetre report from Donnybrook. Now, the satellite images show a little bit of wispy high cloud crossing the central west and Gascoyne coast. Lower cloud down near the southwest corner of the state in the westerly stream. Out of that, the only report since 9 this morning, 0.4 of a millimetre at Cape Naturalist. Tomorrow, we've got the high retreating, but the ridge will be the main feature overnight with light wind conditions, so it could be pretty cold and frosty over those inland parts again tomorrow morning. At the end of the day, we'll be into a pretty good northerly ahead of that next cold front, and a wind warning has been issued for the southern coastline from Cape Naturalist across to Bremer Bay for the evening. The rainfall tomorrow is going to be insignificant. It's just the chance of a few showers southwest of a line from Mandurah across to Walpole. But you can see the front out in the Indian Ocean. That's probably going to arrive through Perth in the middle of Wednesday. Could have some moderate falls here. Could also carry some thunderstorms up to Jurien Bay. By midnight on Wednesday night, we could have showers up the west coast as far north as Carnarvon and across to Esperance. The major centres tomorrow, there's just the possibility of a shower in Bunbury. A partly cloudy day for Albany and Esperance. The cloud over Kalgoorlie should clear and everyone else should be sunny. Around the nation, Adelaide's expecting showers to ease, Hobart showers increasing, a late shower or two for Melbourne, possible shower up in Cairns, and everyone else should be fine, though it'll be partly cloudy in the national capital. Light variable winds overnight will go northeasterly early tomorrow morning at 10 to 15 knots, northerlies later in the morning, and during the afternoon they could get as high as 20 knots. Seas between 1 and 1.5 metres, the southwesterly swell between 2 and 3. High tides a little over 1.1 metres at 16 past 7 in the morning, sunrise at 7:15. The forecast for the city is for cloud clearing, light winds becoming northerly at 15 to 20 kilometres an hour during the morning and lingering like that through the afternoon. Tonight's minimum 10, tomorrow's maximum 22. On Wednesday, we'll see that front arrive in the middle of the day. Showers, possible thunderstorm. The Bureau suggesting we could get between 8 and 20 millimetres. The temperature range 9 to 23. The showers continue on Thursday up to 6 millimetres and a top of 18 degrees. Friday will be another cool day, but the weekend's looking almost sunny on both days and 20 degrees on Saturday, 23 on Sunday.
Prosecutors have told a Perth court there is no doubt Bradley Robert Edwards is the Claremont serial killer. After several delays, the trial's final stages began today with DNA evidence linking Edwards to the death of Kira Glennon under the spotlight.
Prosecutors say it was the fight for her life that captured the DNA of her killer, and Kira Glennon's torn fingernails show she tried to defend herself by scratching her attacker, and in doing so, took a piece of the accused with her. This was Carmel Barbagello's final pitch in the Claremont murder trial, saying the DNA of Bradley Robert Edwards proves he is the Claremont serial killer. This evidence is crucial because lawyers for Edwards argue a DNA mix-up has wrongfully linked him to the crime. But Ms Barbagello has given meticulous detail on how evidence was tested and stored at Perth West. She also said one of the key fingernail samples was never opened at the lab, arguing against the possibility of cross-contamination. Instead, Ms Barbagello described the theory as implausible and unfathomable, saying there was no realistic opportunity or mechanism for contamination to happen. Carmel Barbagello also outlined the strict measures to ensure cross-contamination doesn't occur, including restricted access to the lab, extensive cleaning, staff training and the use of personal protective gear, including gloves and face masks. Defence lawyer Paul Jovich begins his summary later this week. Lee Steele for 10 News First.
A massive fireballs lit up the night sky in WA's north. It took workers on night shift by surprise. Some even managed to film it, but where it ended up could remain a mystery.
A space spectacle lights up the Pilbara sky.
Holy shit! No!
Workers on night shift scramble to catch it on camera.
Whoa, what the is that?
The mysterious streak appeared just before 1 this morning, leaving those awake to see it guessing. While the jury's out on exactly what it was, UWA's resident astronomer, Professor David Coward, believes the fireball was a type of space rock or meteor, estimated to be less than a metre wide.
It's got a green tinge to it, which is an indicator of the types of metals that you get in the rest of the solar system in rocks. So it looks naturally occurring.
He says the meteor would have burnt up on its way down.
And it's very unlikely that this would have survived to the ground. In fact, most meteors don't make it to the ground.
All that can be taken from last night's astronomical light show is a tale to tell.
That's unreal, eh?
Amelia Simpson for 10 News First.
A mother's walked free from court after admitting smothering her teenage daughter several times in what she claimed was an attempted exorcism. Kylie Winebrett dragged the girl into their backyard 2 years ago and sat on her while suffocating her with a towel, causing her to lose consciousness 3 times. She was sentenced to 4 years jail, but the term was suspended.
We'll be celebrating tonight. The kids are looking forward to seeing me, so...
Winebrett was warned to properly manage her mental health issues. We're being warned about the possible risks of travelling to China after an Australian man was sentenced to death row for drug smuggling. Friends say Calm Gillespie was set up when he was reportedly caught with 7.5 kilos of the drug ice in 2013. The former actor now has barely a week left to file an appeal, which in China almost never succeeds.
The timing of the sentence tells me that this is all part of China's political campaign to put maximum pressure on the Australian government, to get the government to really bow to China's demands.
China is denying those claims. In the last hour, its foreign ministry demanded Australia respect its judicial sovereignty. A Mandurah great-grandfather's been scammed out of thousands of dollars he thought was being invested in the stock market. It's been described as an elaborate scheme, and dozens of West Australians have fallen victim.
Vivian Doney is one of many West Australians who were targeted by investment scammers this year.
I did send $10,000 over to him, thinking that that was part of my stocks. But it wasn't, it was just to be used for them.
Con artists sent this brochure by mail before calling and emailing multiple times to pitch the bogus scheme. Eventually, the self-funded retiree agreed, sending money he'd saved for his own funeral.
These organised criminals are sophisticated, they're very good at what they do, and they're all about trying to make that sale.
This year alone, 65 West Australians have been conned by similar investment scams, collectively losing close to $5 million.
So the average loss is around $77,000 per person. Some losses are relatively small and some are really large.
To make sure you don't fall victim, don't respond to unsolicited offers. Do your own research and ask yourself, is it too good to be true?
Fair enough, I got scammed. That's fair enough, I'll cover that. But I don't want other people to get scammed. That's why I'd like to say, watch out.
Nathan Brooks for 10 News First.
WA now has just 2 active cases of COVID-19. 9 people recovered from the infection overnight, including the remaining 6 crew from the infected LQ8 live export ship. It's as a fight brews over the 50,000 sheep stranded at a Baldivis feedlot, with animal rights activists mounting a challenge to stop their live export during the northern summer. A decision's expected in the federal court tomorrow. We're being warned it could take up to 5 years for the economy to recover from the coronavirus crisis. Prime Minister Scott Morrison is predicting a record downturn for at least the next 2 years. He announced today the federal government will fast-track $72 billion worth of infrastructure projects to help get people back into work.
Projects that will support 66,000 direct and indirect jobs.
15 priority projects have been named, including the inland rail connection between Brisbane and Melbourne. The Labor Party's been rocked by corruption allegations which have led to the sacking of a Victorian power broker. State Minister Adam Somyurek has been axed by Premier Daniel Andrews, and he's been banned from the party over the explosive branch stacking claims.
His conduct and his comments are completely deplorable, they are shameful, and it is on that basis that there is no place in my government for him.
The Premier has referred the matter to the Victorian anti-corruption watchdog and the police. Mr Somyurek denies the allegations. Police are hunting a man in the state's northwest over a sickening sex attack. A woman and her teenage daughter were asleep when a man broke into their Broome home and threatened them before they were sexually assaulted.
The victims are traumatised, they're struggling, but they're doing the best they can given the circumstances.
Detectives want to speak to 36-year-old Rami Rahman over the investigation and are asking anyone who knows where he is to contact police. An SES volunteer has ended up in the centre of a search and rescue operation after falling down a mine shaft. The woman fell down the abandoned shaft west of Brisbane after she was looking for a missing person. Specialist climbers had to be called in to extract her. She suffered a substantial bump to her head and hypothermia and was rescued late this afternoon, just as the sun was setting. The woman accused of sparking the 2018 strawberry needle scare, which wiped millions of dollars from the industry, has returned to court. A hearing today told that her arrest came after DNA testing linked her with one of the needles found in a strawberry punnet.
Mai Ut Trin is accused of an act of sabotage that brought an industry to its knees. The 52-year-old returned to court today for the next step in what will be a long and complex case. She's facing 6 counts of contaminating goods with intent to cause economic loss after needles were discovered in strawberries shipped around the country in September 2018. Giving evidence today, a co-worker told the court he'd heard Ms Trin joke about putting needles into strawberries. A senior investigating officer said that claim had made her a person of interest early in the investigation, but she wasn't arrested until after DNA testing linked her with one of the needles. We decided we had sufficient evidence after the DNA came back. Ms Trin was taken into custody in November 2018. Ms Trin's defence lawyer questioned police witnesses over why certain lines of inquiry had stopped, drawing attention to reports of a suspicious vehicle at another strawberry farm in the area in the days leading up to the contamination discovery. You must keep in mind all these strawberry farms are open to the public. You can walk into these strawberry farms at any time in any place. Late today, the magistrate adjourned the hearing after Ms Trin's defence requested more information on other possible avenues of investigation. The matter is due back in court on July 27. Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
Goss is back and the Suns are still shining on the Gold Coast.
Why wouldn't they be? Weren't the Eagles terrible? They were very impressive, the Suns against West Coast, and one of their young stars has been rewarded with the AFL Round 2 Rising Star nomination.
Could a plague of locusts be the new 2020 global threat? And the tongue-in-cheek photos that show targeted statues taking back the power.
People are really surprised at what we do have and what we stock. We've got a full smart home range, from lights to security locks to cameras, everything to control your home in a smart way.
We use the security system that we've got from Bunnings to look at our dogs when they're being naughty. We can just say, Billy, Georgia, and they'll just look at the camera and they know.
So you can have this amazing tech for a really low price.
Bunnings Warehouse. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
Hey, Tina, can you please slice the lettuce, tomato and onions, toast the buns, grab the sauce and mayo and bring the meat.
Take a break from cooking and get Hungry Jack's Flame Grill Whoppers delivered now on Uber Eats or Menu Lock. Hungry Jack's Delivery. The burgers are better.
73% of Australian women don't get enough calcium from their diet alone. Boost calcium absorption with Ostalin Vitamin D for strong bones. Have you got the bones to do it?
Which delicious new Arnott's Cracker Chips flavour will you try first? Hickory ribs with sticky glaze or mozzarella and basil bruschetta? Arnott's Cracker Chips, oven roasted, never fried.
Manolo, you're so cold. Come in. What's wrong?
It's dry.
Your scalp might get dry in the winter too. Try Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Care. It nourishes the scalp and keeps you up to 100% flake-free. Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Care.
Australia, we're excited that footy is back. And at Coles, we're helping lower the cost of footy faves. Coles Beef Quick Cook Porterhouse or Scotch Fillet Steaks, mix, match and save any 2 packs, just $12. Coles, good things, great value.
At Apia, we're all about possibilities and making sure you're ready for them. And while not everything is possible at the moment, there are some things you can do. With Apia's comprehensive insurance, you can double up and save. Simply buy new eligible home and car insurance together before July 10 and save 20% off the second policy. Our dedicated specialists are ready to help. Call 13 50 50 or visit apia.com.au.
Today, as we work to stay fit and healthy, and medical science continues to explore new ways to save our lives, it's gold nanoparticle cancer research that offers new hope for the future. There's more to Australian mining.
Light and Easy's new winter wellbeing menu gives you over 100 delicious meals to enjoy, all packed full of nutrients to keep you healthy throughout the colder months. Eat well and keep well this winter. Order from Light and Easy's new winter menu today.
Are your gums sore? Most oral health problems start with gums and teeth enamel. I recommend Oral-B Gum Care and Enamel Restore toothpaste. It helps revitalise gums and helps restore weakened teeth enamel. Use daily for your gums and teeth. I'm convinced by the science. Try Oral-B.
Hey guys, welcome to our new home.
Wow, look at this place!
Come on through, I'll show you around.
OMG, we got a book!
Hey, whoa!
Just wait till you see our brand new living room.
The new season back on Fridays on 10.
Skipper Luke Shuey was the Eagles' best player on a bad night against the Suns, but he's extremely sore and is in a race to be fit, should I say, in time for the clash with the Lions this weekend. Meanwhile, Jeremy McGovern's availability is in the hands of the tribunal tomorrow. The West Coast star appealing a one-game suspension. Lockie Reid has more.
A rush of blood from a normally composed competitor.
McGovern wants some more.
I didn't even know I hit him, to be honest. I didn't go in there and try to punch someone in the face. So, yeah, whatever it is, it is.
So no surprise to see McGovern deciding to fight the charge. But his legal eagles must somehow prove his attack on Sexton wasn't intentional, which could be tough considering seconds later he shoved him into a fence and copped a $1,000 fine. The sight of Luke Shuey this morning summing up the loss to Gold Coast. The Eagles battered and bruised by a team that was on average 2 years younger and had played half the amount of total games.
They were a lot harder than us, I think, in the contest. It seemed like they, to be honest, just wanted it a little bit more than what we did in the end, and we'll pull our finger out for next week.
Brisbane at the Gabba, the next assignments. Near enough isn't good enough for Fremantle after their loss to the Lions.
Yeah, clearly a bit frustrating. You're on a win, and we've been in both the games against good opposition.
The Dockers' last win 317 days ago, but the signs are promising.
And this game is on again.
Sean Darcy's season looked over on Saturday, the big man needing crutches just to get into the rooms.
Obviously a nasty incident on the weekend. Scans this morning have cleared him of both ACL and PCL damage. He's got some soft tissue damage at the back of the knee.
The door well and truly open for a Jesse Hogan return. The players about to get more freedom at their hub. Surfing, golf and fishing now allowed. So Fife will be frothing, Hearn will be in heaven, and no more handicaps for the golf enthusiasts. Lockie Reid for 10 News First.
Coaches Adam Simpson and Stuart Dew gave top votes to Gold Coast Sun star Matty Rowell, who did rip the Eagles midfield apart at the weekend. So it doesn't come as any great shock that Rowell is the round 2 nominee for the AFL's Rising Star.
After just 2 games, Matt Rowell has fast climbed up his teammates' ratings.
He's a little bit like Michael Voss, I think. He's a bit of a bull over the ball.
He reminds me a bit of Selwood, I think, the way he plays, really tough and inside.
That was reflected in the MVP votes as well, claiming all 10, something rarely seen this soon. The toughest decision now for the coach, who in his side should be dropped to make way for Brandon Ellis and co-captain David Swallow.
The captain was knocking on the coach's door first thing this morning, so obviously it's a good position to be in. Brando's going to be really close. Dave will obviously come in.
The only thing missing from their drought-breaking win was fans in these seats, but there's renewed hope this week that might change for their clash against the Crows on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's still to be worked through, I mean, it'll be reasonably small, but again, the guys are working through that at the moment.
Adelaide will arrive into their hub on Saturday, a team wounded after their record-breaking showdown loss to Port Adelaide.
When you play like you did on the weekend, you want the next game to come around pretty quickly, and our next game's going to be up in the hub.
Crows they're a pretty proud club, and I think they've had a bit of issues over the last 6 months or so. So we're expecting them to come up here, start their hub off on a good foot.
Josh McLean for 10 News First.
We've barely heard a peep out of the A-League since lockdown began. But today the Football Federation revealed some light at the end of the tunnel. The season to resume mid-July. Glory players checked into the club. The first time since being stood down without pay 12 weeks ago for their COVID-19 swabs. The squad to resume training Thursday. From there, Perth face an uphill battle to win the title. The players told they'll spend up to 5 weeks living in a hub in New South Wales to see out the season, with all 5 finals games to take place in a 1-week block. And the Canterbury Bulldogs are facing the Sydney Roosters tonight, 24 hours later than expected and without one of their star forwards. Aidan Tolman was ruled out due to a COVID-19 scare after a teacher at his children's school tested positive. The 31-year-old was cleared but still has been forced into quarantine for up to 2 weeks. Dogs coach Dean Pay is fuming as Tolman could be missed for up to 3 matches. Dean Britt comes into the starting team for the Doggies, who last week notched their first win of the season. And Adam Zampa says part of the reason he left the Redbacks and moved back to New South Wales was due to limited chances to play in the Sheffield Shield.
I've played 3 Shield games in the last 2 years, and one of them was at the Wacker, where I only bowled one over in the second innings, so there's been a lack of opportunity.
Zampa says part of the reason he first-class debut, should I say, with the Blues started way back then, before he moved to South Australia in 2013. I'm sick of talking about how good the Gold Coast were and how bad West Coast were. We'll talk about something else tomorrow night, but we will catch up with Matty Rowell, who is the rising star. Has his pants up high, fair skin, red hair, he's got all the things against him, but he's a bona fide superstar.
So a big Tuesday night of sport.
Massive.
That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Might be wise to hang out the washing tomorrow because rain is on the way. Michael has the forecast in just a moment.
He is a gun. I love him.
Each of these boxes is a golden opportunity.
You can lift your lids now.
Gold ingredients.
This is your golden ticket to immunity.
What they'll create is pure gold.
I spend my career searching for those food highs where you go, that's bloody brilliant. That was one of those moments.
Mystery Box, 7:30 tonight on 10.
Don't forget, everything you buy before June 30 could be tax deductible.
Did you say everything?
Everything? Everything? Everything?
Yes, everything you buy before June 30 could be tax deductible.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of dinner with Coles boneless shoulder roast down to just $7.50 a kilo. Save $1.50 a kilo. And for delicious pork recipes, head to coles.com.au. Coles, good things, great value.
Glen 20 isn't just for the bathroom. It also kills 99.9% of germs and viruses such as athlete's foot fungus, salmonella, and the common cold virus. Glen 20, one spray, 101 uses.
Even remotely, our home loan specialist can zoom into your home to help you save on your next loan.
For the mid-afternoon naps. For the midnight marathons. For bringing the family together. For a chance to escape from the world. For the good times and the other times. For the years of support. Danks Furniture. The comfort of home.
Muscle and osteopain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online.
Okay, done.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
OMG, what a night. I probably look like... Shut up, my skin looks amazing.
New Olay Retinol 24 Night Serum. Look how plump and bouncy. Girl, it really works.
Love the no BS attitude. Can't believe I didn't try him earlier.
Another real review from a happy Aussie broadband customer. With thousands of 5-star reviews, an award-winning NBN network and all Australian support, why wait any longer? Aussie Broadband. Can't beat feedback.
It is the heart of the home. It's the heart of our family. It's the heart of our social life. We need it to last a long time, and that's where quality comes in. Every kitchen is different. Every size is different. So we have such a great range here.
It's a nice feeling to walk into a brand new kitchen. We definitely make the whole process affordable and easy. So from start to finish, Bunnings makes it super easy to get your state-of-the-art kitchen for your budget.
So to create the amazing look without the big prices, beautiful kitchens at an affordable price that look amazing.
Up next, the Labor Party in chaos after a branch stacking scandal was blown wide open. While the whole world deals with the coronavirus crisis, Africa's also facing another plague. And tears all round after a MasterChef fan favourite's emotional elimination. The Project next. Hello there. There's a nice dry day coming up tomorrow. If you're waiting for some rain, it looks like it's going to roll through in the middle of Wednesday, and it could be a decent total by the time it finishes on Thursday. The satellite images today showed a bit of high cloud sweeping across central parts of the state. There's still some low cloud on the lower west coast to the south of Perth, and that has produced 0.4 of a millimetre at Cape Naturalist since 9 o'clock this morning. Rainfall tomorrow is only going to be confined to that far southwest. There is the chance of showers along the west coast south of Mandurah and around the west and south coast as far east as Walpole. The chart is showing a high pressure ridge over us at the moment. That's generating the fine conditions for tomorrow. That cold front moving into the eastern Indian Ocean is the feature that's going to come through during Wednesday. By midnight on Wednesday, there could be showers up the coast as far north as Carnarvon and through much of the southwest land division and down to Esperance. On our waters tomorrow, we'll have light variable winds around 10 knots going northeasterly early in the morning at 10 to 15 knots and then northerly in the middle of the day. They'll freshen to 15 to 20 in the afternoon. Seas 1 to 1.5 metres and the southwesterly swell between 2 and 3. Today fell just short of 20 degrees, around 3:15. The overnight minimum was 11.9 at 2:45 this morning. And at the moment it's 14.5. It's calm, the barometer 1,025.4 and rising, relative humidity 72%. Tomorrow will be a milder day in the northerly winds, with most locations expecting 20 to 21 degrees, a bit warmer up to the north with 22 at Bullsbrook and 23 at Lancelin, but the night will be a bit cooler, expecting 7 tomorrow morning at Guildford, at Northam and at Dwellingup. For the city, they will see the cloud clearing during the day. We'll have light winds becoming northerly at 15 to 20 kilometres an hour during the morning, a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 22. Wednesday, we'll see the cold front arrive. It should bring showers, possibly a thunderstorm, could be between 8 and 20 millimetres of rain, a top at 23. Cooler conditions on Thursday and Friday, both around 18 degrees, but Thursday could give us a further 6 millimetres. Very pleasant, mostly sunny weekend before some rain next Monday as well.
Thank you, Michael.
Pleasure.
Stay with us now for the project. Enjoy your evening here on 10. Good night.
See you tomorrow. Good night.
Tonight, the PM's grand plan to get Australia's economy back on track.
It will take us an estimated 2 years just to get back to the level we were at prior to COVID-19.
Labor Party turmoil as a branch stacking scandal is blown wide open.
While the whole world deals with the coronavirus crisis, Africa is also facing another plague.
And tears all round after a MasterChef fan favourite's emotional elimination. This is The Project. So many emotional eliminations. Good evening, welcome to The Project and welcome to the large, flat, plasmatic Steve Price.
Thank you very much. I have put on weight during COVID. I didn't think that's a bit rough, Waleed.
I didn't mean that at all. I just meant that you're on a very big screen.
You said flat too, not fat.
Yeah.
Flat.
Oh, OK.
Are you OK being described?
I thought he said fat.
No.
Wow. Your ability to find new ways to start to show off awkwardly, it astounds me, Price. It really does.
All right, we are inching out of the COVID lockdown, but there's still a long way to go before our economy is back on track. Today, the Prime Minister unveiled his plans to get us there.
We'll start with the good news. When it comes to dealing with coronavirus and its economic fallout, Scott Morrison says we've nailed it.
Australia has shown incredible resilience, bettering not just a few countries, but frankly most of the countries around the world.
But we still took a significant hit.
It is expected that over $100 billion of economic activity has been lost this year, and that it will take us an estimated 2 years at least just to get back to the level we were at prior to COVID-19.
To get us there, the PM's announced the details of a 5-year plan. Priority 1, job making.
Today I announce a priority list of 15 major projects that are now on a fast track for approval.
Among them, the Inland Rail project from Brisbane to Melbourne, another underwater electricity cable between Tassie and Victoria, and the Olympic Dam expansion in South Australia. All up, the projects are worth more than $72 billion in investment and are expected to create more than 66,000 jobs.
This investment, and most importantly these jobs, will be brought to market earlier by targeting approval times for major projects from an average of 3.5 years to 21 months.
While JobMaker looks to the future, many people are still struggling through the here and now. Around 7 million Aussies have relied on JobKeeper and boosted job seeker payments to get through the pandemic. But the government's sticking to its September rollback.